Part 1, CDT plate translation. Where did the human race come from? Well, about 560 million years ago, there existed a planet called Terra, and at that time, the planet Terra existed in what we call the second harmonic universe. What do I mean by that? What is the difference between harmonic universe 1 and harmonic universe 2 or 3 or 4? Well, for now, if you could just think of harmonic universe 1 as being the lowest vibrational energy, harmonic universe 2 higher, etc., etc. For now, we'll come back to that later on. All right, so about 560 million years ago, on a planet called Terra, which existed in the second harmonic universe, there was a desire among many races, some extraterrestrial, some meta-terrestrial. There was a desire, a good common desire, a common goal, to combine their genetic material and energetic material to come up with a master race. And the purpose of that master race would be to serve as the guardians of the planet Terra in the second harmonic universe at that time. And by the way, the founders of this whole project, the original idea originated with beings who were of the fourth and fifth harmonic universes, and they worked through what we could call a seed race of the third harmonic universe. That race was called the Lyrans, Lyrans. Okay, now overall there was a council that was appointed to oversee this project along with a number of other groups. And the council that was appointed to oversee the entire project was the Syrian Council, and they were of the second harmonic universe. So the whole project, you could call it the T1 project, and this is the project to create a master race to be the guardians of the planet Terra in the second harmonic universe. All right, so we know that the Lyrans was the seed race, and this seed race was interbred with other Syrian races. So after approximately 8 million years of the project of trying to reach this master race for the planet Terra, what resulted were 12 races, basically 12 versions of the goal project. Now, even though there were 12, let's call them strains, each and every one of these 12 strains or 12 versions, they still all had one thing in common, and that was the unique basic 12-strand DNA structure or package. So in other words, if someone were to look at the DNA, they would say, oh, that's one of the versions of the Master Race Project. Here are the names of the 12 races. Brahman, Drahman, the Atoni, Trinitan, the Azertan, the Celtos, the Adami, the Yatarans, the Luri, the Seraz, the Nazakte, and finally the Melchizedats. So what happened to these 12 strains? Well, the next several million years that went on presented a number of challenges to these 12 strains. Things that were not anticipated, like external factors, external challenges, some interbreeding from other outside races that were not anticipated. And so that created some weaknesses in the genetic structure, and so there was genetic breakdown. Ultimately, we were left with two races, and these final product, we'll call them races, were known as the Alanians and the Lumians. Now, I'm sure, as you know, us human beings here now, we have two-strand DNA. We have two strands. Now, there are 23 levels, where the 46 chromosomes, 23 on each side, bind together. But we are still two-strand DNA types. But these two races, the Alanians and the Lumians, were of a 12-strand DNA genetic code. Now, there were two distinct cultures at this point, the culture of Alania and the culture of Lumia. Now, the Alanians at this point had a very strong desire to dominate the Lumians. So what did the Lumians do? And here is where it is eminently clear that being a part of the Galactic Federation, knowing about other civilizations, is an extreme advantage to one's survival and to the survival of a planet and to the health of a planet. Let's put ourselves in that situation. Let's say that, China or Russia, or let's say we are China or Russia and the United States is trying to bully us or take us over. What would happen? Well, what's happened on our Earth? War, nuclear war, and just destruction because we have no one to reach out to for help. Well, guess what the Lumians did when the Alanians were presenting a threat of dominance? The Lumians reached out to the council that was overseeing the whole project for both the Alanians and the Lumians, the Syrian Council. And the Syrian Council came up with a beautiful, peaceful solution, which was to physically move them to a continent on Terra that was uninhabited. And so they did that. Now, the Lumians themselves also wanted to purify their DNA. So they set up themselves a council, the Council of Mu. And the idea was for them to breed with another race. So that interbreeding was done with the view to strengthen the genetic structure and protect from external, factors. The other thing that was done to purify and upgrade the genetics was to focus on these spiritual teachings, unity consciousness, the spiritual law of one. Now, at the same time, the Alanians were also being assisted in purifying their genetics and upgrading. Now, I've already mentioned that these two races had very different cultures. And so they were focused on different things. They had different interests. At that period of time, it's clear that the Lumians were focused on spiritual upgrading. The Alanians were focused on physics and portals. In fact, as a result of what the Alanians had focused on back then, even to this very day, there is a portal, a time link between present-day Earth and that time on the planet Terra. Time travel. Now, unfortunately, there were some negative intergalactic wars going on which impacted the planet Terra in a very negative way, and the planet itself suffered. what is called a grid implosion took place on the planet Terra. And many people were evacuated to other star systems. Now, because there was then a pole reversal on the planet Terra, and guess what that resulted in? A period of 2 days where it just stopped rotating on its axis. So at that point, everybody had to go underground to survive. And so they did. And over a period of 10,000 years, they managed to restabilize the planet Terra's environment. However, when everyone resurfaced, and that was after a period of 10,000 years of being underground, even though they had managed to restabilize the environment of the planet, there was still a lot of instability because the energy core of the planet Terra had been thrown off, and the certain energies had been ripped out of the grid. Essentially, at that point, the planet Terra became trapped within the second harmonic universe, and they called it trapped in the tracks of time. And then things further degraded. The energy core of the planet Terra rapidly fell into a lower vibration. It couldn't resist the natural magnetic pull, and it got pulled into a sun within Terra's universe. And inside that sun, there was a black hole. Now we're going to find out what happens when things get sucked into a black hole. So we've got these 12 fragments of the planet Terra that had been sucked into the black hole. Well, around these 12 fragments, there's a little field. There's the morphogenetic field of the fragments of the planet Terra. They get sucked into the black hole, into the center of a sun that was within the Terra's universe. Well, they re-emerge into a lower harmonic universe, and they did. These 12 fragments, they re-emerged as into a lower dimensional universe, HU-1, and when that happened, they actually became matter. So it set up a little mini solar system of 12 planets around what is now our sun. So they have now been sucked into harmonic universe 1, and that sun that they set up around is our sun. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this recording, that explains why we are in harmonic universe 1. Anyway, that sun already existed at the time. Our sun already existed, by the way. It's just that the planets didn't. So now you know that our sun existed. And the reason why the planets set up around our sun is because it's the fragments of Terra. Now, so we've got 12 pieces. We've got 12 pieces that we've got to account for. One of these pieces simply fused with our own sun, okay? The 11 others were matter that built up. They became planets orbiting our sun, so they sort of remanifested, okay? And now they're a portion of our morphogenetic field. All right, so now we know that one of them fused with the sun, so we've got 11 others to account for. Well, they became the planet Mercury, the planet Venus, this planet, the planet Mars, the planet Maldak. Now, if you want to know where that is, it actually doesn't exist anymore because it imploded. All right, the planet Jupiter, the planet Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and the planet called Nibiru. Now, that planet, I don't think that we have yet discovered it. Actually, I'm going to Google it and see if we have. Wow, amazing. So if you Google that, you'll see that people who mention that planet are doomsday conspiracy theorists. Well, isn't that something? Those people are wrong, and they are ignorant. So now you have a piece of information that that is very futuristic because it hasn't been discovered yet. Obviously, it by us, I should say, by people on this planet. Now, if you're wondering, where does God fit into all of this? Oh, God fits in a big way, but we're not going to talk about that yet. However, just before I close off, for those of you who love tarot, I want you to think about the Moon card. The Moon Tarot card, which is Major Arcana card number 18, there are 15 yods of moonlight. Now, why is that if the Moon card is tarot card number 18? I believe that Waite was making reference in the Moon card to what is known as the 15 missing books of the Bible, or in the Jewish tradition. In the Jewish tradition, there has been a long-standing mystery about 15 uncommon or 15 unusual points. Now, as I mentioned before, the last time all of this information, this CDT plate translation, the truth about the history of our origins, God, physics, science, everything that we are over the next few years going to be disclosed, the last time we had this information was around about 2,000 years ago through Jesus, a woman named Miriam and John the Baptist. Now, they were here to present 12 of the 15 missing books of the Bible, 12 of those CDs. So the CDT disc, the original physical disc, and all of the holograph versions, they originate from something even older, which is called the Holy Grail teachings, or the Grail line teachings, or the 15 books of the Bible, whatever you like to call it. Now, in the most ancient religious texts that exist, the most ancient, as you may know, that these are in Hebrew or ancient Greek, and they have portions, the versions that have been translated up to today's date, that are crossed out and canceled. And up until present day, we didn't know why there were cancellations, lines, missing things, dots, secret points. Well, this is where everything got hidden and destroyed. It's unusual to have a religious text that has crossed out lines, cancellation dots, unless that was done deliberately to hide the truth. So the Jewish people call the missing information or the cancellation dots 15 extraordinary points, because there are 15 passages, well, not just passages, huge portions of their original, let's just call it the Masoretic text, the original version of the Hebrew Bible. 15 cancellation portions. Now, I believe that these are the 15 missing, or they refer to the 15 missing books of the Bible. But they're not going to be missing for much longer, because hopefully when I have this entire volume of videos made, we will hopefully have all of the information. I'm just taking it one step at a time. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. So I look forward to your comments, and I look forward to making the next video. Thanks for watching and listening.